June 19, 2017, Travels with Phil continues. I'm on the Lolo Trail, and this is Fort Fizzle. Good name for it, based on what happened here. In July of 1877, the Nez Perce were coming from that direction, which is Idaho. This is still Montana. And they had had some battles with the Army in Idaho, and they were trying to get to Canada to get out of the United States to just avoid any interactions with the United States government and the Army. They were coming down the Lolo Trail, which is a pass over the Bitterroot Mountains. There's a stream along here, Lolo Creek. There's another one on the other side up there until you get toward the peak up there. Well, when they got about 4 miles from here, they found out that the Army had come up from Missoula, about 25 or so regular soldiers, and about 175 volunteers had come up, set up right around here. And they were, given the job to stop the Nez Perce, to, get all their arms and get them to surrender. And they set up a little fort here. Now, this is not the actual fort, but this is an example of the breastworks that they did set up. Now, the Nez Perce and the volunteers had a couple of parleys, 3 parleys, and they both sides did not agree to the other side's terms. And the Nez Perce said, basically, we're going to need our weapons and ammunition and all that kind of good stuff for our trip all the way through the rest of Montana and up into Canada. But they said, if you just leave us alone, we will go through peaceably. We'll just pass by without causing any problems. And that was good with the volunteers because they didn't really want to be fighting. And so the volunteers took the Nez Perce at their word and left. And that just left the fort with a small number of men. Well, as it turns out, not too far from here, there's a fairly steep ravine, and it goes up and around a part of the hill up here behind us. And they just managed to go around the army that was still left here in the breastworks. And that's why they call it Fort Fizzle, because everything just sort of fizzled out. The Nez Perce continued going south along the Bitterroot, eventually got to the Big Hole, which was another big battle about 12 days from the time that they were here. And then they worked their way into Yellowstone and went through Yellowstone and worked their way through part of Montana. Unfortunately for them, at least, they didn't make it all the way to Canada. They got about 35, 40 miles from Canada at a place called Bear Paw, where they were finally surrounded and captured by the Army. But this is Fort Fizzle on the Lolo Trail, heading up to Lolo Hot Springs and Lolo Pass. Travels with Phil, back to you.